Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dyan Finkhousen, head of the Open Innovation Center of Excellence at GE.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Are we holding up? Anybody sleeping? All right, because we will call you out. There's some good stuff going on in the industry. This is really exciting. And hey, how are you? Good to see you. We go way back. So it's just inspiring to see what everybody is doing with these tools, right? And how the tools have matured over the last several years. How many folks have been working with open innovation crowdsourcing for 1 to 3 years? 10. Yeah, so we're all kind of learning together, building together, right? So I really strongly believe in the power of kind of sharing knowledge and best practices and lessons learned. Not everything's going to work. So the more we can share kind of our journeys with each other, the better off we're all going to be, and basically the better the tools will be, right? So as we share our learnings and our experiences, what's working, what's not, and where, then we can kind of build that all into the system and the technologies and just drive better outcomes for our businesses and our customers. So really that's what I wanted to share with you today. I just wanted to share our journey. It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. At GE, we believe strongly in experimentation, right? And testing new business models. So this started as a great idea, really 3 years ago. And it's matured into something that we think is really making a difference. Thanks in large part to our partnership with Bright Idea and many other partners that have helped us think through how to drive better outcomes. But so I'll share our journey with you and welcome any questions, and hopefully this will be valuable. You'll see some kernels of truth and value in our journey as well. So we believe that we're living in a crowd-powered world. I think we're probably all in violent agreement on that front. But what we have done at GE is really over the past 3 years really started to lean into really a way to create a more efficient system to put expert communities in touch with the business problems that the GE teams are trying to solve for. So really every day, GE teams are working with their customers and their suppliers to solve some of the world's coolest opportunities. Really cool stuff, really tough challenges, and we recognize that there is no way any one company can have all the best expertise in the world for the mission at hand. So, as I mentioned, we have invested in a process to create a very systemic marketplace to match great business opportunities with great talent. So that marketplace for us is Genius Link. I lead the Genius Link team at GE. We roll up through a global operations team, and global operations at GE is the organization that's responsible for scaling highly efficient processes across all the business units. So I share that because our move into global operations was a commitment to scale the innovation process, a highly efficient and compliant innovation process for all the GE teams, which for us was it was a strong signal that GE was committed to scaling innovation and driving efficient, high-yield innovation activities across the business. So I mentioned the journey. We're, like many of you, we're still in the midst of that journey. So we think the end state, right, to some of the Q&A that followed the last session, we believe maybe a few years out, we're going to be able to get to this state where we're able to deploy an optimized innovation system that has basically a learning process wrapped into it. So over time, we think we'll be able to learn from our engagement with expert communities. So we'll kind of keep an eye on what's working well, what's not working well, internal communities, external communities, what types of projects do the communities really respond well to? And we're going to learn from that over time, and we're going to do a better job matching the business problems or the business opportunities with the expert communities that are best equipped and most excited to respond to those business problems, business projects. We're not there yet, so we're still experimenting and learning. We're basically moving from bar 2 to bar 3, and we'll talk about that here, but in the first, I'd say, 2 years of our scaling process, we were really focused on trying to build awareness and education across the organization about the power of a community-based model, right? The power of working with solver communities that are outside of your own core operating team in order to drive better outcomes for your customer. So we were very focused on driving a lot of projects, building a lot of use cases, a lot of test cases that would prove the value of the tools and the approach. And we made a conscious decision to try to encourage the teams in every function across the business and every business unit. So ranging from our water industry team, our aviation industry team, oil and gas, you name it, every GE industry, we wanted to partner up with thought leaders in those markets to run some test cases, to start to use open innovation and crowdsourcing as maybe a different way of getting things done. And by partnering up with those thought leaders, we built up a nice inventory of basically proof points. And so I think we developed enough evidence in all of those proof points to kind of be able to set that aside, right? And if we're working with new folks that aren't as familiar with the tools, we just pull out those proof points and say, okay, 50% faster if you go this route, or 50% better outcomes if you go this route. So we've got that. Now what we're trying to do, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is to create a system that basically breaks down the barriers and puts the crowd on our team, right? So internal expert communities, external expert communities, it doesn't matter, right? You're all a part of the global brain. So we're trying to break down those barriers and create more efficient engagement processes and create crowd-powered business models for our teams and our customers. So we're going to talk about that here in a second, but the next step on the integrated innovation system is what we're reaching for this year, the balance of this year and next year. And we think that by crowd-powering business plans for our teams and crowd-powering business models, we're going to be able to kind of usher in what we believe is the future of work. So how are we doing that? We're employing a lot of the practices that we've been talking about all day here, but we start always with the outcome in mind. So what is it that the teams are trying to achieve? Are they looking to basically introduce a new suite of products to new markets? Are they trying to accelerate the advancement of new technologies in order to improve or address some industry objectives? What are those big picture outcomes that the teams are solving for? And that's where we start. We have a turnkey process. It's taken a lot of partnership with a lot of folks across the business. Our first call was to the legal team, and we've partnered very closely with the legal and IP counsel throughout the entire journey. So they're basically our co-architects of this process. And that gives the rest of the business a lot of comfort as we're introducing the tools to folks that aren't as familiar with them. Some of the first concerns, I'm sure you all encounter this, are IP or confidentiality. And we're able to, take that off the table quickly because we've architected compliant systems that the IP Council has helped us design. And they're working with us day in and day out to make sure that the experience is sound and is compliant. Similar to some of the other approaches we've talked about here, we have a team that provides a full white glove service for the entire wing-to-wing innovation process. So here again, a lot of our business teams have day jobs, right? And they're so challenged to hit these very aspirational goals. They're running with their hair on fire. The last thing they have time to do is go out and research what open innovation tools are best suited for them, how to make best use of those innovation tools, how can they keep themselves out of trouble when they're reaching out to the crowd. So we've got the experts on our team to usher them through that entire process, and it's a very light touch process for our business teams. It allows the business teams to focus on their business priorities, and we just bring the expert communities into the conversation. And it basically elevates the ability of our teams, the teams that are sponsoring the innovation missions or that are requesting help. It just elevates their ability to, it kind of frees them up, right? If we can bring the community into that production process and that strategic thinking process, then we're basically helping our teams be much more successful and liberating them to do a lot more of the kind of the strategic thinking and direction setting. So we're trying to architect a process that puts our teams in a position of achieving greater success. Down at the bottom of the page, I've tried to organize what we've done, and we were talking about this earlier. What we've done by design is to scan the landscape of kind of major business activities that all the GE teams and now also GE customers might need help with, that might be also a good fit for a community-based approach. So whether it's open innovation or crowdsourcing, we view that as crowd-powered work, right, and community-powered work. We work with communities internally and externally, and we try to create basically packages or business plans that allow the GE teams or GE customers to execute more effectively against these main categories of work. So if you're in kind of discovery mode and you're looking for market research, benchmark, customer validation of new products, we have approaches for that. Or if you're in heavy production mode, right, building new software, building new hardware, building new business models, we have communities of experts that we're comfortable with, that we're confident in, that we can go to them and they can help us think through and deliver on those missions. And then also we've built basically a process to basically a talent market to engage experts on demand. So general business services, a great example of areas where people just need something done. They don't have the time, they don't have the resources, they just need help with it. And so we have a talent market to help them clear that off the to-do list. So what we've tried to do is create basically an ecosystem of expert communities and technologies that becomes effectively a spot market for expertise and a spot market for solutions. And then we help the GE teams and the GE customers just kind of usher those submissions, right, or those solutions into production mode. So I mentioned earlier, this is kind of the talent market. This is how we're crowd powering business for GE teams and GE customers. We're really just focused on that switching mechanism. We are not the innovators. We have a lot of really brilliant people in the GE teams and GE customers. What we're our mission is to make it easier for those brilliant people to access other brilliant people to generate amazing outcomes. So we're basically the spot market for expertise in GE, and we're crowd powering the business. So I talked about crowd powered business plans. We're focused on two approaches, really, and this is the way we're kind of stepping up to that next level on the maturity curve. We've stopped really focusing on trying to generate a lot of challenges, a lot of projects. We're less worried about project count. We're more worried about, or we're more focused on, how can we create the biggest business impact by marrying the right expert communities to our businesses. And we're doing that through two approaches. One is to create crowd-powered business plans, and the other is to create crowd-powered business models. So crowd-powered business plans, probably fairly intuitive, but just to kind of walk through the details of it. Crowd-powered business plans assume that there is a scarcity, right? A lot of businesses, maybe this doesn't apply to you, but very often we find ourselves faced with business goals that are a bit of a stretch. You either don't have all the time that you need to get things done, you might not have all the people that you need to get things done, you might not have the right skill sets to get everything done, or maybe you have all that, but you think that there might be a better outcome if you had access to a different set of skill sets. So we're solving for scarcity and optimization. There are, in most cases, ways to introduce crowdsourcing and open innovation into a business plan to amplify the speed, to amplify the cost, improve the cost, or to amplify the quality of the outcomes for the business. So the tools are incredibly flexible and diverse, as you all know. There are many, many amazing providers and communities out there. If you're not in the business, right, if you are an engineer in Waukesha, right, knowing all these tools and all these communities is not necessarily top of mind for you. So we, as I mentioned, try to make it very simple. We can access customer insights, we can access expert markets. We have a big focus on process simplification and process automation. So we're working on building out communities that are highly specialized in process automation so that we can create kind of a virtual assembly line. Bring us your broken process, bring us your process that has friction points. We'll help you figure that out and either improve it or automate it. So that's something that we're building on. And as I mentioned earlier, we're doing that internally and externally with experts that we source internally and experts that we source externally. And having the toolkit that allows you to create that seamless reach, right, like Bright Idea, it just allows you to create one portal to convene the communities and to move missions around is so incredibly helpful. So we're using Bright Idea both internally and externally, and the internal traffic to our Bright Idea portfolio is just so exciting. We've had over 200,000 visits this year. We had over 200,000 visits last year. It's just really exciting to see this becoming a real kind of destination. And we have people reach out to us and say, I want to know when you launch new challenges. Let me know. So it's creating a bit of a movement. We have a long way to go. We have grand aspirations for what we'd like to achieve, but it's nice to create this destination, this innovation destination for our teams. And crowd power business models, this is a new, basically a new strategy for us. As I mentioned this year, we want to really kind of take the next step, find the next gear as a business. And so we're taking kind of large chunks of what we do as an industrial company, moving to a digital industrial company, and looking at how we could just integrate expert communities and make them part of the way we work. So the first crowd power business model that we're launching actually next week, so you get a sneak preview here, is crowd powered manufacturing. And we're pretty excited about this. We're building a new business model branded as Fuse that combines digital open innovation, global digital community, so reaching out to experts around the world, inviting them into our product and technology development process, and then basically the great ideas and inspiration from that community will then transition into a microfactory. So we're standing up a new microfactory that will be really purpose-built for rapid prototyping, collaboration, and small batch manufacturing. So with Fuse, what we're doing is basically bridging the physical and the digital. We are breaking down the walls between us and them, and we're basically collapsing that chasm between a great new product idea, a great new technology idea, and full-scale production. Because that chasm kills a lot of really great innovation today. And if we are going to evolve to a digital industrial company, we've got to move at market pace. And so leveraging the community to help us with product ideation and design and prototyping, shifting the great ideas immediately into a microfactory for rapid prototyping and small batch manufacturing gets us to market at lightning pace. So we're really excited about this. It's launching next week, so keep your fingers crossed for us. Yay! And yeah, join the community. I would welcome you all to join the community. It's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just we think it's going to transform the way we think about manufacturing, and we have a few crowd power business models kind of lined up in the roadmap behind it, but we think this is potentially going to be a great addition to the portfolio. So that's how we're thinking about crowd powering our business. It's a combination of open innovation challenges. It's all the tools that we've been talking about today, and we're taking a portfolio-based approach and trying to focus on big impact and really kind of finding another gear as an innovation team. So that's it.
Thank you, Dyan. Appreciate that. Great presentation.
Thanks.
Want to sit down in the hot seat? We got maybe a couple minutes to ask you some questions.
If I must.
So obviously, great story. I think a lot of great shared insights. I'm curious how you kind of found your way into the innovation space. How did it all start?
You know, great question. I just serendipitous, I guess. I've always been kind of a rule breaker.
Yep.
And glass breaker. So, you know, my background is finance and marketing and product management, and I've just always really believed that. Frankly, I've always had fun kind of breaking things down and putting them together in a different way and changing the way business models work. Mm-hmm. And I originally took the corporate role as a member of the industrial internet marketing team, and picked up a couple open innovation challenges and just got religion, and started bugging my manager and at the time his manager, Beth Comstock, to just let me set up a center of excellence for open innovation, that there was something there. And, credit to them. They're like, yeah, do it. And so we've just built it from there.
Here we are today.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
So obviously you guys are a massive company, right?
Yeah.
What kind of complexity does that add to how you run your program, how you've been able to scale things?
Yeah, it's been more of a blessing than, scaling a new team, basically a startup, is always a challenge, right? And rife with challenges. But I've been with the company for about 20 years, so I knew a lot of folks in the business units, and that allowed us to have some conversations about, trust-based conversations about, okay, what are you really trying to solve for, and why don't you work with us to give this a shot? Right, and just leveraging those relationships across the business allowed us to build out a nice, diverse portfolio that we could take out, and then they became advocates as well. But I would say our biggest challenge, given the complexity of the organization, is frankly education and awareness, just getting the word out. We're still a closely guarded secret, believe it or not. So it's getting the word out and getting top of mind is our greatest challenge.
Hey, have you guys kind of changed your strategies it's kind of maybe 3 years in, obviously, with the platform. How have you kind of shifted things to go about helping get the word out and communicating and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have shifted our strategy as we've grown, and credit again to the team and to the leadership. We've basically taken the launch, learn, and refine approach to scaling. Sure. And in the beginning of this year, just as an example, we were focused on driving velocity, right? Innovation velocity, and through as many campaigns as we possibly could. And then literally mid-year, we made the pivot. Yeah, exactly. And said, okay, how can we drive the greatest impact? Yep. And that's crowd-powered business plans and models. The velocity approach was driving incremental impact for the businesses and consuming a lot of our time. So we shifted and just really wanted to focus on those big plays that would become kind of signature pieces for the company to build upon.
The team that you have in place, it's obviously morphed over time. I know you kind of rejiggered some things this year. Can you talk a little bit more about how the team's set up and structured, and kind of how you go about that process of obviously bringing on new people to the team, and kind of what types of attributes you look for in those folks? Yeah,
appetite for risk. We have a great team, and so we have kind of evolved the team and the thinking, but really we have a team of actually 9 individuals covering a company of over 300,000, but we're basically aligned by business unit. So every program leader is aligned with 2 of our businesses. One program leader is aligned with 3, so that they can develop deep and kind of credible and trust-based relationships with the leadership teams in those businesses. And that's been an adjustment that we've made this year, but it's really working well. It's that trust-based relationship that allows this process to take root. And then I also have 2 process impact leaders that are focused on partnerships with, one is partnering with the technology leadership in the company, our software and our engineering leadership in the company. And then another process leader is focused on partnering with the sourcing and supply chain leadership. So by aligning with the organizational structure of the company, we have sustained conversations with the leadership teams, and we basically build credibility by driving impact for their teams. And then, of course, I have an operations leader who keeps us all on the rails and out of trouble.
Keeps everybody in check.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd say some people here, and obviously in other spaces, would say, you guys have a very envious program. People would want to kind of try to mimic what you guys are doing. Are there other innovation programs out there that maybe you're envious of, or that you've learned something from that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Where to even begin? We're like avid students of what everybody's doing. I'm constantly scanning kind of what you all are doing with your programs. So I was cribbing serious notes from the last presentation. I'm going to take a lot of that home, and I'm going to call you. If you're still in the room, I'm calling you. I love what Cisco's doing. I love what Vodafone's doing. I love, oh gosh, I'm going to forget some of my favorites. You put me on the spot, but just avid student. I love what NASA does. Just really cool. NASA's awesome. Seriously.
I'm not gonna question that.
It's easy to geek out when you read their headlines. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
it'd be really cool.
What's maybe your biggest learning from a failure in the past few years?
Focus. Focus is, we have a very complex organization, and we're trying to be obviously kind of a one-stop shop for innovation for a really big, complex company. So we've had to constantly challenge ourselves to focus in order to go fast and to drive big impact. Trying to be the jack of all trades in the innovation kind of arena for a company of our complexity and scale, it just is, a path to mediocrity, right? So we've really had to kind of own certain processes and spaces.
You talked a little bit about kind of scaling things back this year, at least from a velocity perspective. Who sets the goals that you guys have to kind of try to meet?
Yeah. Well, that's a collaborative process. So, it's basically probably the same process that everybody deals with, but we have our business targets, and we'll present our plans, our recommended plans during our planning cycle, and then we have a conversation about those goals, and inevitably they increase dramatically, and then we deliver. But it's a great way to kind of challenge us to think differently about how we can achieve better outcomes for the team, and we enjoy kind of startup metrics right now as well. We don't have to necessarily provide the same performance metrics that some of the mature businesses do. We're in the innovation space, and we're still a startup. We're still scaling, so we get to kind of evolve our thinking about what success looks like.
I guess the role of Bright Idea in helping you guys scale. I mean, you feel like that's, I guess the dynamic of that, like what it brings to the table. I know you guys do both internal and external. You've done public stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe explain a little bit about how that's kind of helped the program kind of take off and where you see it in the next few years.
Yeah, you can have all the great ideas and the best aspiration for collaboration, but if you don't have that really great digital meeting place, right, to invite the innovation and have a conversation about what inspires you, and then manage those ideas through, you're out of luck. Bright Idea has been absolutely instrumental in our ability to pull the GE team together into a common conversation and create a lot of energy and excitement. Like I said, it is a destination now.
Yeah.
And people are excited about engaging in having their voice heard and being a part of the entrepreneurial community. And then the back end of the system, the idea management side of the system is just, it's platinum value. Just the ability to curate all those great ideas into manageable action plans has been, for us, absolutely critical to success. To manage all of that with a very small team, you have to have those tools to usher ideas from, a conversation into action and business outcomes. And we've kind of hacked the system a bit, right? The use case a bit, and it's also a great tool for us to kind of automate some conversations. So there there are some workflows that historically have been kind of routed around by emails and kind of legacy systems, and we've been able to convert those workflows into Bright Idea and use the conversation zone and the back-end kind of idea management zone to create a more cohesive, efficient conversation around whether it's resource, kind of resource requests, whatever, but it's a great tool to convene conversations and requests and move them into action. So it's been great for us.
Glad to hear it. So I got one more question for you. What is you got goals set for next year? I mean, what are you guys aiming for metric-wise, KPI-wise? What's on the roadmap?
Next year's a big year for us. It's kind of a breakout year for us. We have historically been a service provider for GE teams and for a few GE customers, and so as such, we're in the shared service team and a cost center. And next year, we've signed up. Speaking of those goals, we've signed up to convert into a profit center, so a P&L for the business. And to do so, we're launching innovation services to GE customers. So it's a big push to externalize the great systems and kind of processes and drive that same value for our customers.
All right. Well, we look forward to being a partner with you guys with that next year.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, let's give Dyan Finkhousen a round of applause. Thank you, Dyan.